Your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, and we're doing the match preview for the Everton Leicester game. Obviously, we're doing it via live stream. So feel free to comment down below any of your thoughts throughout. I'll try and read all of them out, but as at least as many as possible. Um, but yeah, looking back, we've had a nice little break from Everton in our lives. Almost feels a bit weird, especially when no other Premier League games have been played. But as a brief catch up, the last time we played was against Manchester United, and we managed to get that very important win. Extremely important, really, in the grand scheme of things. But the United game was, yeah. So just catch up on the United game. I was impressed. I don't think it's the prettiest football we've ever played. Um, I think I said it on the match review for that game when I was joined by James, I believe. It wasn't the prettiest in terms of, you won't be showing it to people to try and get them to watch football and, this is the beautiful game. But Frank Lampard said, first things first, safety, then beautiful football can come. And I fully agree with that. From now to the end of the season, let's just get points on the board any way possible. And while it might not be a technical beauty, it was battling, it was feisty, it was just a really good sort of. You could tell the players were up for it, you could tell the fans were up for it, and I think when those two work in unison and the fans and the players are up for it, it makes Goodison Park horrible, and it makes Everton, even with the players that we have, horrible to play against. So I was very happy with that. Obviously, it's good to see Anthony Gordon get his goal. It does take a bit of a deflection from Harry Maguire, and I don't think it's going in if it doesn't take the deflection. But again, in the review, I said that you need a bit of luck, and we've been short of luck all season. So maybe, it's about time some of it falls our way. And I was glad to see it did in this game. But yeah, that was the last time we played. It was absolutely incredible. It gives us a bit of a gap on Burnley, who then went and lost to Norwich. I will cover how the weekends affected us, because even though we haven't played, it does still affect us. Obviously, the teams around us played, and that's very important how they got on. And I'll probably discuss Burnley as well, because they've done an absolutely mental thing that I didn't see coming. I think it's last chance saloon, last roll of the dice for Burnley. I've got a feeling Sam Allardyce will probably be getting a phone call very soon. I've seen that they're going to get an intermittent manager, but we'll get into that a little bit when I talk about the weekend's games. But yeah, as a whole roundup of the United game, I thought it was really impressive. The fight was there. It was just scrap. It was scrappers scrapping, and it was a heart, which is what we've wanted for all season. Really, we just wanted a bit of heart from the lads, a bit of determination, a bit of pull your socks up, get at them. And to be fair, I didn't have us down as winning the game, but I had a feeling we might have drew it, because we did well earlier on in the season. So, and United at Goodison Park is always one that gets fans sort of giddy. We've had good results there in the past. So it was a good game. But yeah, moving on, obviously the weekends happened. And we haven't played, which has been quite nice, I've got to admit. I enjoy some weekends without Everton, it has to be said. But the other teams did. Burnley have also sacked their manager, which is incredible. Erwin's put a great pun there, last roll of the dice. I appreciate that. It's decent. That it's almost like headline worthy for papers, that is. Yeah, obviously the Premier League happened. The FA Cup games were going on as well. And Burnley have sacked their manager, which is incredible. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It sort of, especially before the weekend's fixtures, if they'd waited till the weekend was out of the way and then made it on today, for example, I'd have sort of got it. They've not been great, Burnley, this season. They've really been struggling. But to sack Sean Dyche after all he's done for that club and all the achievement, even if you go down, I thought they were going to keep him, because you'd come straight back up with him, or you'd have a better chance of it. But obviously their new owners are just desperate to stay in the Premier League, a bit like we are. You don't want to be down at the bottom. Watford, Norwich, they've done it before, gone up and down. Not saying it's not a problem for them, but they are, I think that's well in, especially Norwich, that's well within their plan. But Burnley have spent a long time out of the Championship now and probably didn't want to go back down into it. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. I think it probably is going to be Sam Allardyce, realistically. But yeah, looking at the table, obviously Watford played around us. Norwich played, but I think they're definitely gone now anyway. Norwich lost 3-2. That was a good game. I was watching that in the pub. That was a very good game. United are very lucky, and with Arsenal losing, they're very lucky there. Obviously, Watford lost 2-1 to Brentford. Brentford are well out of reach for us now. But Watford losing helps us massively. And then the big one, which is Burnley, I think that's the one we're all a bit nervous about. That was a 1-1 draw with West Ham. I really thought David Moyes would have done us a favour there. But no, and Burnley could have won. Maxwell Cornet takes a penalty. I believe it might be the first penalty he's took in his career. Misses it. Yeah, and it's 1-1 away from home for Burnley, which is a good result either way. But could have been a win, which would have put a lot of pressure back on us. Luckily, Michael Jackson, Ben Mee and Cornet, whoever's decided that he should take that penalty is absolutely mental. And it always goes the way, doesn't it? If somebody's not took a penalty and they make their case for it and they do it, and they 9 times out of 10 miss that. It was bizarre. And obviously Newcastle beat Leicester, which again doesn't help us in terms of where the table lies, but Leicester are our next opponents, so they're coming off a loss. That Bruno Guimaraes played a really, really good game of football. I saw plaudits for him everywhere last night. So fair play. The money works, and Eddie Howe at Newcastle is turning it around as well. But he got both their goals, and I think Newcastle again are out of reach, which is, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Michael Greeny has put all remaining home games need to be treated as cup finals. We managed to do it against both Uniteds with no small amount of success. I expect 3 points against the Foxes. Yeah, this game is massive. I am going to lead on to this game and the importance of it. It is, and I'll go into Leicester's squad, their recent results a little bit more. It's worth pointing out Leicester's season, I think, is probably done. Looking at the table, which I'm about to look at it for our sake anyway. But looking at the table for Leicester first, they are 9th. They're not going to get the top 4. They are miles away from that, 17 points away from that, 14 points away from the conference. I think Leicester's best. I think Brendan Rodgers, I don't know, I think I'd be a little bit sweating there because I think Leicester are putting all their eggs in winning the Conference League, which probably helps us a little bit. I'd rest big players if I was going to go for the Conference League personally, if I was Brendan Rodgers. So that could come into our favour a little bit. But talking about us down at the bottom, we are 17th with 1 game in hand on Burnley, 2 games in hand on Leeds. Leeds are 33 points. We're on 28 points. So Leeds are catchable as well if they have a bad slump. I mean, if we could jump over Leeds, who I think are probably safe as well, that'd be a little bit better. Just try and claw as much as we can up this table. Although once we're safe, I'll just take safety, in all honesty. By the way, just have to say it, Brentford have done really well. Christian Eriksen's transformed them. They are now 10 points clear of us. We have got still 3 games in hand, but still that's an incredible effect. That side, Brentford have jumped up that table. But Burnley are below us. We've got a game in hand. They've got 25 points. So if they'd won at the weekend, they'd have gone right back behind us. At least we've got this little bit of a cushion. Watford are below them. We've got 2 games in hand at Watford, where they've got 22 points. Realistically, I think Watford and Norwich have got 21. I think Norwich are done. I think realistically Watford are done as well, in all honesty. They're only a point more than Norwich. Burnley are like I said, Burnley are the big ones, but they've sacked their manager, their experienced manager. They've got their assistant. They've got their player in Ben Mee, who I think is a good player and would rather have him on the pitch than in the dugout. It's very interesting how that one works. Could you imagine if we'd sacked, if after we sacked Benitez, we gave it Seamus Coleman? It's a bizarre thing to do. But it's all good for us. We're gonna take that, and I don't want to ravel in other teams' unfortunates, but I'm actually really really happy about that, and about the state that they're in at the minute. So yeah, moving on to Leicester though, which is what we're all here for. We're here for the match preview, and Leicester, and we'll go through Leicester in their sort of season. It's been a bit weird for Leicester. Like I said, if I was Brendan Rodgers, I don't know, the way football, I don't think I wouldn't say deserves to be sacked, but the way football is, it's very, it's an off season for them. It's a really off season for them. And the way football is now, you can never guarantee your job safe. But their last 5 games, they drew against United, they drew against SV, they beat Crystal Palace 2-1, beat that PSV in the return fixture 2-1, and then they lost to Newcastle 2-1. There's a lot of 2-1s there going on at Leicester, but I'm hoping Newcastle shows that they're sort of giving up with the league a little bit, or there's definitely like clinks in their armour, which has been the case all season. Otherwise, they wouldn't be that low down on the table. But yeah, this is a massive game for us, as well as that's what I mean. Like Leicester have got nothing to play for. We've got everything to play for. They have got key players that we need to be careful of, though, obviously, and just need to keep a little eye out of the likes of Jamie Vardy, James Maddison, for example. I really don't look forward to him. Vardy's their top goal scorer as well, 10 goals, which is, for Jamie Vardy, I'm going to say it's okay. It's probably not the standard that we're used to with Jamie Vardy, but still 10 goals, and he's still got that pace, still could run ragged, and I think he's going to really push our defence to work. And they've got a couple of other players, Wilfred and Diddy. They've got a very good squad, in all honesty, Leicester. I don't know if they should be doing as badly as they are. Like I said, I'd be a little bit nervous because that's a good squad. The top assister is obviously Harvey Barnes, who's a great player again. They've just got a really good squad. I can't believe they're that low down in the table. They're only on level points with Brighton. They're only 12 points above us. We're not catching them, but they're not massively ahead of us. They should really be trying to compete with Wolves down there. But yeah, let me know, by the way, your thoughts on the game. If you think we could beat Leicester's season as a whole, where you think it might be going wrong. Erwin's put they are in the semis. Weird as they've not been their usual self, but doing good in Europe. Yeah, that's why I think they're just focusing on that, and you can sort of understand that, because if they win that as well, they get European qualification again, which is even better. I think they're sort of looking at it now like the only way we get into Europe next year is to win this, so let's win it. Michael Green's put, I imagine their focus will be Europa League with all the Premier League games in hand coming in thick and fast. There'll be quite an amount of squad rotation. This can work in our favour. Absolutely hope so, mate. I really do hope so. Erwin's put Luckman is there too, so I'll have to watch him. Yeah, always the way, isn't it? It'd be really it'd be sod's law if Luckman gets a goal against us, and I'm sure he'd love that. I'm sure there's nothing he would love more on this planet than getting that. Looking at us though and our team now, I've got there's some potential people that could come back. Yerry Mina being one. I think we might see him back, hopefully, fingers crossed, which is pivotal. He's got there's a stat flying around that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's how many games we win when we have Yerry Mina in the side, and it's incredible. It's incredible, but it's so sad because his body's he's just so struggles with injuries so much, and he's such an important player for us that it's a really tough one. Obviously, we're linked with Tarkowski as well, which I could see being probably Everton realising, Frank Lampard realising that Yerry Mina's injuries are a bit hard to make him a reliable source. But a couple of you have already said this. It's massively important we win. I can't even express how important it is. If we win this, we go a couple of points up the table again, And I think I couldn't give you an exact number. I'm not going to say we win this and we're safe, but I think we're 2 wins, maybe 3 off. We're only a couple of wins off what I would clear as safety, depending on the results around us as well. But if we win that game in hand, which is what this is that game in hand that we had on Burnley. Obviously, the other one was Burnley. If we win this, oh no, it was Newcastle. Sorry. If we win this, we go up to 31 points. They're on 25. That's a 6-point gap. That allows us to lose 2 games going towards the end, which I think we will do. And there's some big games towards the end. After Leicester, it gets really tough. It's the derby. I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I don't see us getting anything out of that. I'd love it if we did, obviously, because it massively help us stay up, and it could cost them a league title, but I don't think we will. Then we've got Chelsea, then we've got Leicester again away, then we've got Watford away. Gets to be easy with Watford, Brentford at home, and Brentford look a really good side all of a sudden. Got Palace at home. Palace have already beat us this season a couple of times, and Arsenal. So we could really do with winning these games and creating a bigger cushion between us. And obviously Burnley have got to win their games. I'll have a look now at what Burnley's running is towards the end. I can't imagine it's tougher than ours, but the state Burnley are in terms of no manager as well helps. They've got Southampton, who have fell off the boil a little bit. Wolves, who have done quite well this season. Wolves I'm quite impressed with. Then they've got Watford. Depending on when that comes around, it might already be too late for both teams. Then they've got Villa and Tottenham Hotspur. They've got Villa twice, and then they've got Newcastle on the final day at Turf Moor. Theirs is a lot easier than ours, but obviously this is Burnley. They're out of sorts. They've got no manager. It really does depend. They've got to get that appointment right. Sacking Dyche was a very brave move, which has been criticised like mad on social media and in the media. So we've got to make sure whoever comes in is right. I've got this horrible feeling it's going to be Sam Allardyce, and there's a man who'd love nothing more than to put us down. He will do it on just spite alone. He will, which is absolutely terrifying because again, he's another relegation master. You get him in to save you. It's going to be interesting what they do. But yeah, like I said, obviously looking at our squad, there's rumours Yerry Mina might be back. That's massive. Personally, I think looking at the squad, I wouldn't change too much from the United game. I'd probably stick Yerry Mina in, but I wouldn't change. I wouldn't go absolutely mad if I was Lampard and start tinkering left, right, and centre. I'd probably stick with the same formation he played. I'd probably go Jordan Pickford in goal, Seamus Coleman. I'd go Yerry Mina and Godfrey, but I think he's going to go Mina and Keane. I'd keep Mikolenko. I think the lad comes on leaps and bounds. He's coming across like he's improving every game at a nice steady pace. He's solid. He's also a bit more defensive, so he'll add that solid defensiveness. Then I'd probably play Allen, and if Fabian Delph's fit, I'd play Allen and Fabian Delph, even over Decore, which is absolutely mental to say. I'd also probably play Iwobi over Decore because I think Iwobi's improved a lot more since Lampard's played him in a different position. Don't get me wrong, if we do get Decore in, he's a good player, and I'm not going to be like, wouldn't do that. But I just think Iwobi's performances have kept him in the team now, which is mental. I wouldn't think I'd be saying that 2 months ago. And then I'd play Richarlison. I'd keep Anthony Gordon in. It'd be harsh to drop him after the United game and him getting his goal. And I'd probably keep Dominic Calvert-Lewin just because the alternative is Solomon Rondon. But I think that's the problem, isn't it, with this team? There's players that aren't necessarily good enough to be in the team, but you wouldn't take them out of the team because the alternatives aren't brilliant. But yeah, that'd be my 11. Let me know what you think as well. I don't think we'll see Dele Alli. I hope we do because the longer we go without seeing him, the more the transfer blows my mind. Same with El Ghazi. I've completely written that one off, though. I always forget he's with us. But the longer that goes on, the more I think, why did we do that then? if we've got no intention of having these players come in and make an immediate impact. Don't get me wrong, El Ghazi, I wasn't sort of holding my breath about. I didn't think El Ghazi was going to come in and make any extreme impact. But I thought Dele Alli, that's he's 25, big player, played in the Champions League, played in Champions League finals. I expected him to come in and by now at least be pushing to get in that midfield. Because realistically, before Fabian Delph came back, this midfield of Alan Decore and then Donny van der Beek as well. Actually, I'll play Donny van der Beek, but I've just realised I've completely forgot about Van der Beek. But then I've just realised we've run out of midfielders. If that's the case, maybe Van der Beek and then Iwobi. Personally, I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but now, Iwobi, I was going to say Iwobi out wide and Richarlison up front and drop Calvert-Lewin just because he's not playing very well. But Alex Iwobi's performances out wide don't always... I don't think he's as good as he is where he's been playing recently. So I wouldn't want to put him out to a position that we're not going to get the best out of him again. But it'd be a shame because... we've got a struggling midfield now, but the fact that Dele Alli doesn't even come into the conversation and Iwobi's getting touted for that midfield role more than him, that sums it up for me. I've not been impressed. I hope he turns out to be a good player, and obviously the better he does, the more we'll pay, but I'm not impressed so far, to be completely honest with you guys. I don't know what you guys think, but not impressed. It seems to be a messy, typical Everton transfer, that does. But yeah, by the way, this game being at home is a massive advantage as well. I think all our home games coming into the end of the season are going to be important. Like I said, we've got some tough games now. It's basically like an FA Cup, quarter final onwards sort of running. And there are some home games I think maybe are winnable. I think this one we should see as at least trying to get a point out of. Chelsea, I think we could get a point out of Chelsea at home. We got it away from home. I think we could try and get it at home. Frank Lampard, I'm hoping will be up for that. And then Palace, I'm not so convinced about, but Brentford, even with the rejuvenation they're going under at home, we've beat them already. I think we should try and beat them at home, definitely. And then I honestly would be so disappointed if we lose to Watford on the road. I know it's away from home and it's not what we do and stuff this season, but it's Watford. I'd be very annoyed if we don't get at least a point, but I'd really want to win from that game. And they're on level with us. I say this, and we should have beat Burnley away at Turf Moor, but they're level with us. It's in our hands. If you lose games with against the teams around you, then I don't know what you expect if you lose the games around you to the teams around you. It puts you in an awful situation. Looking back, a couple more of your comments. Erwin's put, anyone else feel like DCL's scoring? I hope so. I really hope he obviously put that comment out, didn't he, saying, I'm a striker, I'm judged on my goals, I need to get those goals. So I'm hoping that that's the case and he does perform. He did get West Brom relegated, to be fair. Yeah, I forgot about the West Brom one. I think just the spite will absolutely fuse him, though. Owen's also got to keep Iwobi at the number 10. Yeah, that's what Van der Beek comes in and it makes it awkward. Dele Alli's there. But weirdly enough, like I said, you wouldn't have said it 2 months ago, but Iwobi's one of my starters. He's one of my starters, to be honest. I'll give you Leicester's last lineup as well, because we can take some sort of indication over who they're going to play, which is important as well, because we need to know how to deal with the threats that Leicester have. Looking at it, they played a 4-3-2-1 in a sort of Christmas tree formation, which is proper Ancelotti vibes of AC Milan. They played Schmeichel in goal, Thomas, Solanke, Amati, Justin, Tielemans, Mendy, Dewsbury Hall, Lookman, Perez, and Daka. Looking at that, I would say that's quite a rotated squad. They've got a couple of big players out though. Apparently, Wilfred and Diddy is out. Bertrand is out. Jamie Vardy's out till late April, supposedly, according to this. That Samar is also out till late April. So there's some big players missing there for Leicester. I don't. This is coming from FootMob, so if it's wrong on the injuries, it's just that's my disclaimer. In the against PSV, they played Castagna, Pereira, Fofana, Evans at centre, at the back four, Schmeichel in goal. They played a 4-3-3. They had Dewsbury Hall, Tielemans, Maddison, Albright, Iheanacho, and Barnes. That's more of a stronger squad. I can probably see them going for that. I don't think they'll be playing that squad they played against Newcastle. Although I don't know, that's quite a rotated squad. But like we've just been saying, their focus won't be on the league now. It should be on Europe. We'll have a look now at the time between our game and their next one, because that affects it as well. They've got so they play Villa 3 days later on the Saturday, and then they play on the 28th. So quite a big, decent amount of gap. They play Roma in the Conference League. I fancy Roma to win it, to be fair. I think Jose Mourinho is going to add to that trophy cabinet. But the fact that they've got Villa, they're either going to play their stronger squad against us and rest for the Villa game, or vice versa. Maybe because they've just lost, they'll be looking to get points back on the board. So we could be seeing their better strength squad. But like I said, it doesn't matter. Other than the fact that it's competitive pride, and the more losses you get, the more the media talk and the hotter it gets in that seat. They've got nothing to play for, really. If they lose to us, they're not going down. They're not going. If they beat us, though, they're definitely not going, to Europe. So it's a weird one for Leicester. It's hard to judge teams like this in the middle of the pack, got nothing else to play for, because you just don't know what they're going to do. Obviously, they've got the Europe, so you could sort of guess a little bit more. But it is hard when you've got teams like this that have got European, or if they were in the cup still, like Palace. Saying if Palace had beat Chelsea the other day and were in the cup, you could argue if they've got cup competitions, it's a little bit better. But again, I think it just comes round to the obvious of this game, regardless of whether it's Leicester's rotated squad or their fully strength squad. It's a massive must-win for us. The players have got to know that. The crowd will be up for it again. I don't even doubt the crowd. The crowd will be there easily. The players need to show up. They did it against United. They've shown they can do it this season a couple of times. Somebody mentioned the Newcastle game, and saying about how that helped as well. The players have been up for it a couple of times this season, so they've proven they can do it. Fans have sort of seen that they can do it, and these are beatable. I really can't get over how much we could end up beating these. And then we just have that cushion, and that cushion is so important. If we beat these, I don't think we're safe by any stretch. I'm not that confident. I'm not mad. I'm not going to say, that's it, lads, let's just go on holiday because we're safe. We're not by any stretch. But it's important because we've got tough games. We've got really, really tough games. I think 2-3 wins, 2-3 more wins keeps us safe. A couple of draws, but it is tough. I think their biggest player to watch out for, knowing that Vardy's injured, is probably Maddison. The lad's a very good player. He's very tricky. I don't see enough from Daka or Iheanacho to say that their striker. I'd say it is James Maddison, just because he's their creative outlet. For us, I mean, Richarlison's our top goal scorer with 6 goals, taking over Andros Townsend. I'd have to say Richarlison. I think I've got this feeling he might get a goal. He's always up for it anyway. There were messages going around that before the United game or after, where he was saying the crowd, the crowd are massive. They help us. We're all up for the fight. And I think he is up for the fight. I think he is one of the players that's sort of not relishing it, because no, I don't think any of them want to be where we are. But they're not ducking away. They are ready to pull their boots up, pull their socks up, and play. So I'd say Richarlison's probably our biggest threat to Leicester. Other than that, Calvert-Lewin maybe, if he can find some form. But it's not just the goals for me. Even without the goals, how he plays off the ball. I feel like Calvert-Lewin he's a player who needs a goal really badly, and I think that'll boost him massively. It's tough to see him like this because obviously last year was so good. He was on really good form, and he's a likable guy. As are a few of them. They might not be likable when they're losing and we're fuming, but like some of them, Yerry Mina, for example, seem like good personalities to have in the side. But yeah, I'm going to go with Richarlison. Let me know who you guys think is going to score in the game. I think Richarlison might get one. And that was your score predictions. Looking at it, I don't think I ever really put us to lose on these. I always say the worst, a draw. Other than next week when it's a derby, I'll be putting us to lose that because I have no faith there. Realistically, I think it'll be 2-1. I think we could to Everton. I think we can get one goal. The crowd will get behind, and I think the other one will come then. I don't say 2-0 though, because even if Yerry Mina's back, I just don't trust a clean sheet from Everton. I know we got it in the last game against United, but there's just something about our back four that puts the fear in me. So I'm sort of hoping that we can get that sorted. But even if we slip a goal, it doesn't matter if we've got two, does it? Realistically, it's just vital we win. It's absolutely vital. But let us know who you guys think is going to score, and let us know your score predictions. I think 2-1's fair. Or 1-0. I think it'll either be 2-1 or 1-0, and we'll do what we did against United, where it'll be a really cagey affair, and then it'll just be one goal that ends it. And I don't even care if it comes in the same nature as the United goal. I don't care if it takes a deflection off a player, the post, a beach ball. I don't care, as long as we get a goal that puts us ahead and we can see the game out. It would be nice to get a clean sheet. I think it'd do the defenders a world of good as well in terms of morale. But it's just so. I mean, to be fair, Leicester's strikers this season, Vardy, like I said, is their top goal scorer, but it looks like he might be out. Hopefully, he is out. But after that, Lookman's on 6 goals, who Erwin's already said, watch out for. And then I think their next goal scorer after that is Maddison. So I don't see Daka. Daka's not up there. Iniacho's not up there. So it's not like their strikers, other than Vardy, are on a really good scoring streak. I'm hoping one of them they've all already got goals this season, because that's another horrible thing that goes against us. That Daka's got 4 goals. That's for a striker. I mean, I think they brought him last season, if I remember rightly, like last summer. So it's his first season in the Premier League. Iniacho, who has played 22 games, has got 3 goals. That's not good enough. But he's an interesting player, Iniacho, because he'll do this and then he'll get a couple of. He'll then turn it all around and get a hat trick in a game. It's absolutely crazy how he works. But yeah, looking back at some of your comments, Wanderlust has put into these with Mina and Delph in the squad to hold against Vardy and the whole team of Blues readier than ever to fight for the life of the club. Yeah, that's the other thing. If Mina comes in, we've got Mina, Delph, Allen, and that's, on the back four, there's a defender there that's comfortable. It's not just Michael Keane on his own. There's 2 more defensive midfielders. So you have that block of 4 in the middle that'll defend. It might mean that the fullbacks can push up a little bit more. I mean, that depends on the legs, doesn't it? Seamus Coleman's and Mikalenko's, although I think Mikalenko, I don't think he's that type of player, but he's a solid defensive player. So I quite like him. I don't know about you guys, but I think every game I see, he gets better and better a little bit of it at a time. And that's all you can ask for is improve. We'd all like him to be the next Leighton Baines or whatever. But as long as we're seeing improvements from him game after game, I'm happy with that. The United game, I thought he did really well on. I thought he played really well. Was very happy to see him have a good game. I also think a lot of fans like him. But yeah, and Fabian Delph as well. Maybe it's his redemption story. I hope we don't do anything silly, like offering him a new contract, like I've seen a couple of people touting. But it could be his redemption story. It's certainly turning out to be a Wobie's. It'd be nice if a couple of it'd be really nice if it could be Calvert-Lewin's. I really do hope he gets a goal. That'd make me quite happy. Wonderless support if we can pocket Mr. Sunday League. Who knows what we can do against the rest of Leicester? Redemption arc is happening. Yeah, I mean, I think if you mean Vardy, the foot mob that are saying he's injured. I'll have a look now, proper in depth, see if Jamie Vardy is injured. But if he's injured, that's massive for us because I've just read out the other strikers, both Daka and Iniacho they aren't very good in terms of their goals. I wouldn't worry about them. Can't find that he's out on. I'll use the Premier League because they should know because of fantasy football, which it's massive at the minute. That's not saying anything. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. If he's playing, then we've got to be careful of him because even though he's a bit older, only got I think it was like 10 goals he's got this season, he's still an absolute threat for them. And always is. He just runs and runs and runs. And he's a player I quite like. I remember before he signed his new deal with Leicester, people were saying, could he come to Everton? I'd have loved for him to come to Everton, but I think he was only ever going to stay at Leicester. Yeah, he's got 10 goals this season. Yeah, which for him he's quite a bad season, but if he's been injured or he's been struggling with injuries, that sort of says it. The season before he got 15. To be fair, the season's not over. The season's not over. He could match next season's, but the season before that, which I think was his probably really good season, he got 23 goals. He's an incredible footballer, and the fact he drinks Red Bull and stuff is mental. Which Wonderlust has just put here. He's put, I hope he's not injured solely because injuries suck unconditionally, but I really hope he doesn't have to be in order to get done by us. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and go, I hope he's absolutely riddled with injury and stuff. I don't want that. I just hope he's he's just not match fit enough. I hope he is injured. I hope he is injured. I hope he's got a twisted ankle because it's relatively harmless and he'll be out for the game then. Eugene McGee has put Dr. Dan Everton to find it harder to break into the elite. One of us just put 20% Red Bull by volume. And David B's put, I could sell a Wobie as a chair or a coffee table. I see if it was 2 months ago, the Wobie slander. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that like a couple of good games makes up for a couple of years of mediocrity, but I'm seeing a different side of him. He looks a bit hungrier. He's playing better. I think Iwobi could be the one to come back and make us eat our words, if I'm completely honest, lads. I hope he is. I hope he does. Finally found a position that works for him as well, which is massive because we've played him out wide. We've played him in the middle a couple of times. It hasn't always worked. So I really do hope that that this is it. This is the new Iwobi. This is where he's best. That'd be nice. That'd be really nice. Don't forget, guys, let me know your score predictions for the game. I want to know what you guys think it'll be. Like I said, I think 2-1 or 1-0 to us. Eugene's put thoughts on Wayne Rooney getting relegated from the Championship to League One next season. Inevitable, realistically inevitable, but tough. Tough for Wayne Rooney, obviously, but tough for Derby fans and Derby players and the club, because the 21-point deduction, it was always going to be tough to not be involved with that. They had players leave. It's not the same Derby that Frank Lampard was at. They've had players being, left, players on silly contracts as well, and they've had to play a lot of young players, if I'm not mistaken. But fair play to Derby, they gave it a good fight. Wayne Rooney as well, in his short managerial time, has impressed me a little bit in terms of that's a tough job to go into. They're not even rock bottom, and they've had 20-point deduction. That's impressive. It was, don't get me wrong, it's a tough job to go into. They give it a good go. I don't watch a lot of their games, so I couldn't tactically tell you how Wayne Rooney plays, but I watched him on it was Monday Night Football or Friday Night Football at Sky, and they were asking him what his best points of his managerial stuff is, and he sounds the same as he was as a player: competitive, hungry to succeed. He obviously said us and United are the two clubs he dreams of managing. He said that he didn't want to leave us because he didn't want to ditch Derby in this situation, which, fair play, that's a lot of maturity, and I think the way he's handled himself at Derby's got that level of maturity. I'm hoping he's maturing a little bit more. But he said man management was his strongest attribute. He said, I know which players need an arm around the shoulder and which ones need that sort of, not clash, but enough to get fire out of them, which is something I think he's probably picked up from Alex Ferguson, hasn't he? All those years at United, because Alex Ferguson's been touted as one of the managers who just get players riled up just enough that you'd go out and run through a brick wall. It's tough, but I think it was inevitable. If they'd done it, it'd be one of the greatest, great escapes in football. But it's tough. I think he'll stay with them next season and try and come up. I don't think he's going to leave them. I don't know where he'd go. He'd have to, unless he went to another Championship club. But he said he wants us or United, which obviously he's not going to get that straight away. And I think he knows that he's going to have to do baby steps. You don't come straight out of Derby and straight into us. With how long's he been there now? Just over a season and a half, just over a year maybe. You need a little bit. Well, I say you need a little bit more. I'd like a little bit more experience with all of that, but. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think this is where Wunderlist has put. I guess it could be a matter of what they prioritise in part, Confo progress or league standing. Yeah, exactly that, mate. I think they're gonna do the Confro though, just because the Conference League, because it's the only way to get Europe this season. So if it was me personally, I would. If I was Brendan Rodgers, I'd aim for that, and if I was the club owners, I'd say aim for that as well. Because you need European football and that's the only way you're going to get it. Anyway, guys, that's probably where I'm going to leave it. I think we've done enough of the preview. We've talked about everything in between, even a bit of Derby and Wayne Rooney. Don't forget to let me know, though, your predictions for the game. I want to know what you guys think. The Wunderlist, just before I go, Wunderlist, they are quite unpredictable. I do agree with that, because they were like right on the brink, weren't they? And in the next season, they come up and win they stay up, win the league, which I don't think will be done again, by the way. I don't think any team will do something like that again. And I think it made Leicester. I think before then, Leicester were a bit like, oof, but that really made them, and it's helped with where they are now. They've come on leaps and bounds since then. They're a very good team, Leicester. The model's good. They buy good players. We could do with learning a trick or two from Leicester, if I'm completely honest. But that is all I've got time for, guys. Don't forget, you can still drop your score predictions. If you're watching on YouTube and you're watching it back, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Guys in the stream, don't forget to like it on your way out and subscribe if you're not already. And comment down below on YouTube your score predictions for the game and who you think the goal winners are. And I will see you guys very